Good afternoon, everybody. It's April 13, 2025, Sunday, late afternoon, early evening. I hope everybody's doing well, and thank you, everybody, for joining in to the live stream last night. It was lively, as always, and yes, the creepy voice was in attendance, and we decided that with or without music, it's still there. So I don't hear it during the live stream. I only hear it after the replay. But everybody can hear it, and it's there, and it's kind of demonic, and it almost sounds like it's speaking words, but we can't detect what those are. So anyway, I'm going to continue with Deborah Florian's My West Virginia Horror Story, Part 6. Yeah, so we all know that we have ongoing sagas, and it's important to document them. And this one has to do with property mobbing, real estate, harassment, and corruption. As 2013 got underway, things in Sir John's were getting dicey. On one otherwise quiet afternoon, I heard what sounded like a bowling ball hit the roof. There was a steep embankment on one side of the house. If one were athletically inclined, it would be relatively easy to actually get up onto the roof. Entourages of pickup trucks would fly down St. John's Run Road, turn right onto Slonaker Lane, and then make a left into foliage just past the Miller's property, headed towards the train tracks. There was nothing back there to my knowledge. Someone took a poop just outside my walk gate off the kitchen door. It was definitely from a human. Oh, well, we know about how those Satanists, those Luciferian, they love their poop. And some nurses like poops too. See, it's true. The image fella. This is an original mini oil painting by N. Collins, 2021. I hope it doesn't fall down again. I've been trying to keep it up for a while now. It's just keeps sliding for some reason. Very odd. 1 second. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's do this. Okay, that's better. One afternoon in the winter of 2013, I think, in retrospect, I would have made note of this kind of event in a permanent calendar, but I wasn't there yet. I was out in the enclosed yard right off the back door. It was cloudy, very, as in the clouds were almost touching the tops of the chimneys. Of course, I heard the helicopter before seeing it. It burst out of the clouds, flying so low, it looked like it could have clipped the chimney. Just one, though. I think I waved. In my previous testimonial, I mentioned that I would every so often mail a letter to a federal LEO, which is a law enforcement officer. In January or February of 2013, I did so. And of course, there was always a price to pay. Trains running late at night, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., would stop on the tracks in back of the Miller's house during the week when they weren't there and blow the horn relentlessly. At this time, there was a young man who lived in Sir John's, and he worked for the railroad. Morgan County born and bred. Whenever I'd see him, he would look at me with hatred. He lost that job by getting a DWI, driving while intoxicated. On one very cold afternoon in 2013, I went into town for supplies. First to the Food Lion, where the cashiers always behaved oddly towards me. Nothing overt, just that feeling of something being off. As I traveled on Washington Street, I passed the Morgan County Courthouse. There is an alley between the courthouse and the building next door. Vince was there in his gray Dodge Charger. I shot him a look. He pulled out in back of me. I always traveled under the speed limit. The police in Berkeley Springs routinely pull people over for minor speeding infractions. I needed propane for my Mr. Buddy heater, which was a vital part of my heating program, along with a kerosene heater. I idiotically figured Vince would continue on Washington Street when I turned to go into the hardware store. The parking lot was full, even on a weekday afternoon in the dead of winter, so I proceeded up to the stop sign and made an illegal U-turn. My passenger side tires running up onto the sidewalk as I saw a car now leaving the hardware store's lot. In my defense, the curbs were very old and low. But there was Vince, just sitting there watching me. I thought, he's got me, envisioning what was sure to come next. I kept moving, though, pulled into the lot, got out of the truck, now figuring he was going to come into the hardware store, but he never did. Years after this memorable event, I realized he was probably under investigation with regards to the Sleepy Hollow saga. So no contact with me. The weather was warming up. It was early spring. I had been going to a tanning place, Tanphasia, and none other than Hedgesville for a while. It was an easy drive on Route 9 East, no back roads, although I thought I saw Jean's vehicle at a gas station once. I wasn't concerned, just kept moving. One spring day in 2013, I was heading to Tanphasia on Route 9 East, still in Morgan County, where the road was very twisty, turny. I had to slow down. Road crews were cleaning debris out of the culverts. I had the slow sign. Oncoming traffic had the stop sign. As I inched along, I recognized the woman sitting in the first car. Very stylish, big Jackie O sunglasses. It was Jean's wife. Sitting behind her were two Morgan County Sheriff's sedans. To refresh, I had recently mailed my contact some info. I quickly did the math. This crew was on their way down to Berkeley Springs. Those police cars had passengers, and they weren't going out for lunch. As I picked up speed now out of the work area, a West Virginia State Police wagon came into view, catching up to the rest of the group. I gawped at him. He looked hard at me, then he was gone. It's important to note that in all the years I have been sending updates to my source, I'd never hear anything in return. I just see the results, time and time again. Interspersed with events such as this were the everyday joys of living in a secluded spot as the human in charge. One day, as I stood at the entrance of the living room, all three of my cats were looking up towards the ceiling. Heads all turned to the same spot. I thought, oh no. There was a snake making its way across an exposed ceiling rafter. Okay, think fast. I grabbed the broom and very gently blocked the snake's progress. The snake then put its internal gears in reverse, backing into a crevice. The house was full of them, not what you'd call airtight. I'd see a snake draped across the second-story vestibule in front of the bathroom. It would slide into the room next to the bathroom when it felt me coming. They detect vibrations. There were coyotes outside at night, and a bear who'd park its fat rear end in front of the living room door, right where I sat in the summer, feeling the breeze, listening to Sir John's Run. I was content. Oddly enough, I felt safe, even though there were nocturnal gunshots at times. They were nothing like on Rocky Trail, pop guns as compared to cannons, but I was getting poorer. To be continued. Well, thank you so much for that information. I don't know if those snakes were planted there. They do plant snakes around targeted people's properties. It's for scare tactics to create chaos and fear and to log your reaction. Yeah, so, it's very unusual to find a snake, inside the rafters of your home. I mean, of course, even in a rural area, it's quite rare unless somebody left it there. But thank you for sharing part 6 of your story, of your West Virginia horror story. I mean, it's certainly fascinating about all of these vehicles, sheriffs, law enforcement. After you file complaints, they're all around you, but they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything except watching you, you know. You're now on the suspicious activity report. Right now, you're the suspicious one for filing a complaint based upon the truth, but you're the suspicious one that they have to follow around. It's absolutely a waste of taxpayer dollars, and this is why we share this information. These testimonies are testament to what is happening to everyday citizens, people placed on a watch list, people harassed and tormented, assets stripped, all in the name of, quote unquote, national security, predicting, you know, they're predicting, they're police predicting, they like to predict the future by instigating trouble, harassing regular people for profit. So I look forward to your questions and comments down below if this has happened to you. And thank you again, Deborah, for sharing your experience with the subscribers. And I'll talk to you guys soon.